All right. Hey, tree huggers and tree lovers. I'm Suzanne. I'm the founder of 100 for Trees. And before we jump right into our interview with an amazing person named Yossi, straight from Jerusalem, I just wanted to thank you all for being here and let you know that 100 for Trees is where I run 100 miles every month to raise awareness and funds to plant trees. So this is a passion project of mine. I love trees. This does not mean I'm an expert on trees, but I love trees. And so the cool benefit of being on this journey is that I've met some amazing people who have great stories. We're about to hear from Yossi, who has one of those amazing stories. And within that, well, I forgot where I was going with that. I had a point there. Okay. Well, without further ado, we are going to bring on Yossi. Yossi is an amazing guy. He's in Jerusalem right now. He's from Jerusalem. He is staying up late to be with us on this on this show today. And he has such a cool story where he found running really helped him through a difficult thing. And then he was able to take that running and share it with other people to process their difficult situations. And so without further ado, we're going to bring on Yossi and adding to the stage. Hey, Yossi, how you doing today?
Fine, how are you doing?
Great, great. It is so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for joining us all the way from Jerusalem, right?
Yeah?
Awesome. What time is it there?
6:30 p.m. So
6:30. Oh,
late.
okay. Okay. That's not too bad. I told everyone you were up real late.
Uh, it can be later if we go more to the east.
Yes. Well, thank you for arranging this and doing this. And I met you on Instagram. I saw that the name of your Instagram page was Run for Change, which I thought was amazing. So he's the founder of Run for Change. And I started asking him questions about this. He was so open with it. And so I would love if you want to just give us a little bit of background on you, Yossi, and maybe how you kind of came into this becoming the founder of Run for Change.
So it all started when I traveled with a friend with a similar background. I will talk a little bit more about it. And in the Alps, in the southern Germany, in the German Alps and the Austrian Alps, and then we talk about running and the cause of running and what make me run. And one of my feelings was that people always run for some cause to be like better, to run faster, or higher, or longer. And with all these kind of very fancy clubs. So at the beginning, I started as running without clubs. This was my my club. And while talking there, I understand that actually the meaning of running for me it's part of my transition in life. So we thought together that it will be much better to use the running for change in order to aspire people that moving through challenging or some kind of big changes in their life, like I've done. So, or we, both of us. So briefly, I grew up as a ultra Orthodox in some small town and then in Jerusalem in Israel. And it's the ultra Orthodox community. It's very much like the Amish in many Amish, the American Amish in many aspects, not all of them.
Amish.
We
Uh-huh.
need electricity and some kind of technology, but still we didn't learn anything about like the basic learning, such as mathematics or English. I learned ABC when I was 24 years old. So
Wait. That's pretty incredible right there. Wow. So so you were raised in this kind of for lack of a better word, sheltered community that only learns certain things. So you didn't even know how to. So you just recently. When did you learn English?
I learned English. I start learn ABC in 2006. So
Wow.
18 years ago. Awesome.
Wow. You weren't
Uh,
taught any of that growing up.
yeah, the idea of the community that I grew up in was to close you in some kind of a very let's say, sheltered or closed community, that it will be harder to live. So it's with certain religious rules, with all kinds of uh, instructions about what to do, what not to do, and also with a big fear of any kind of connection with the outside world, with like any anyone that it's not from your community, even if he is from other communities within the ultra Orthodox community, because there are various communities inside the ultra Orthodoxy. So it's quite of a close place. So English, it's a way of communicating with people outside, getting some good jobs and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to have or to places that you shouldn't be in as a member of this community. So yeah.
Wow. Yossi, that's incredible. I think obviously with technology and everybody around the world globally connecting with one another and seeing the way other people live, that must have been a culture shock, like a cold splash of water in your face to go from where you were to into the real world. How did can you tell me a little bit more about that? How did you handle that? What was that like?
Yeah, it's actually a long process. So I left in 2000 when I was 18 years old. I didn't know what is computer. I think smartphones wasn't around, or not at all, or not at least in my surrounding. Uh, I never spoke to a woman, so talking to a woman was like a sin or just saying like
Whoa, 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 whoa. You didn't talk to a woman until you were 18?
uh, and not to mention sports. Sport also wasn't part of our life. So like I didn't know anything about the outside world. So at the beginning, it was like, I don't know, being on the moon. So everything is new. Everything is like a different. You're wearing different new clothes. You are speaking with new people. You learn new things about yourself and about the society around you. And it's a long process, but there is ups and downs, obviously, to this kind of process. But like moving through it and taking it step by step. And I think it's very much similar to my philosophy of running. So I'm going, even when I'm going out to run 100 kilometers, I'm going to run one step and then another one. And I have some idea or some goal in my mind, but the basic idea it's like moving one step at a time and being in the present and not in what will happen or what might happen, how fast or slow or whatever it will be.
Wow. You were like, it's almost like you were a baby coming into the world and being introduced to things. I can't. I mean, Yossi, I'm trying. And the first time I spoke with you, we had a Yossi and I had a conversation, I guess a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, and this whole time, now that you've introduced me to this, I've been trying to think of what is that like? What does that feel like? And I just that's pretty brave and tremendous what you went through. Did you have a mentor or anyone who could guide you along this path, or was this you walking it solo for a while?
So there is no like a real or official mentor for this kind of stuff. So when I was, I guess around 14, so 8 years, 4 years before I left, I start understanding that this is not the place for me. I asked too many questions. I had too many challenges on the authorities. I still do it, but this is another problem. And I try to read and learn beyond the scope of what I was allowed to do. And in these years, I start trying to create to myself some kind of role models. Some of them don't know that they are like this until this day. And in every step in my life, I use new people or people around me that I saw as a model or let's say anti-model, what I don't want to be. and try to use it as a way to move forward. So usually I try to imagine something in 10 years. So when I left, I want in 10 years to be like similar people around me at the same age. So like I didn't know what this means, but this was the idea. And then I start investigating what you should do in order to get to more or less the same place. And part of it was completing high school diploma and going to bachelor studies. And eventually 10 years later, I was a bachelor. So it was kind of a way of moving forward. And also at this time, I started to think on the next 10 years. So like while the years are moving, I try to aim far and also plan for close distance. So the far plans are more of like some kind of a compass where which direction I want to go, what I want to do. It's not always something concrete. It's more like I don't know, mission or something that it's like how to see. And some stones on the way, like after I don't know, the next day, the next week, the next year, stuff like this.
So, Yossi, what would you do when you got frustrated? Because to me, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking I would feel there would be at least a period of time there. And I'm thinking of difficult things I've had to, challenging things I've had to deal with. There's a time period where I'm just kind of mad. And for me, and this may be the same for you, for me, that's a lot of the running is very therapeutic for that. The movement, actually moving the body, getting that energy out. What thoughts do you have on that? What did you do when you were frustrated? How did you handle that?
So definitely hiking and running. I think like for me, hiking it's part of running, or running is part of hiking. They're going together. But like having this possibility to go out to the nature, I need the air and the movement and the changing atmospheres and the green and the birds that shouting around and just like being out there. It's like an incredible thing, and it's healing like any kind of challenge, any kind of I don't know, anything that I faced throughout my life. Some run or hike or both solve it, or maybe two or three, but at the end it's work. So I think maybe the best way to cope with challenges and changes always bring challenges. It's through movement. You need to move like change it's a moving it's some kind of movement and moving also physically and not just internally it helps in a way to reduce the effect of this kind of outside challenges and frustration and all of this kind of stuff. So I think it's a for me when I discover it it's become to be like a almost mandatory. I like try every day to do at least 30 minutes of some kind of workout, moving around, no matter rainy, cold, hot, too hot, all of this kind of stuff. It's a very helpful.
Did you say cold to hot and hot to cold?
So even if it's hot and even if it's cold,
Oh, even if it's hot, even if it's cold.
like I don't know, I lived for a few years in Germany and they had this snowing and very cold compared to what I used to weather and still try to use this time to go out and still breathe and move because otherwise it's hard to handle the everyday life, let's say.
Yeah, that's so helpful for people. I think there's a lot of people right now. You can see it, on any social media platform you go on. There's a lot of difficulties that people are dealing with. My hope in people listening to this right now is seeing the extreme obstacles you had to overcome at a later age when people would say, well, the brain has been formed. But obviously, you are a curious person. You asked a lot of questions, and a lot of the very bright people who come up with some of the most progressive ideas that help humanity have been people who ask questions, and who the the guards or the higher figures don't really like that. So here you are, somebody asking questions. You see that there's another world out there. Even at an older age, you were able to go out, reprogram your brain, it sounds like, and be a positive force through movement and healing yourself out in nature. I think some people would call you a mentor right now. Do you see yourself as a guide or a mentor?
I'm not trying to be. I know that some people see me like this, and I'm not like escaping this kind of role. I think and this is part of the idea of this like club or idea of runners for change. It's like to give people the inspiration that they can do it. So I know that this is part of it. I am not always feeling comfortable with it,
Yeah.
but it's part of the, I don't know, life or moving through life and arriving to these kind of places that you need also to take this role and share it with people to give, I don't know, some kind of optimism or some kind of belief in the possibility of the human nature to always change. Like we can always change if we do it correctly and if we move in the right direction. And if we take it step by step, this is very important, not to jump, not to try to run marathon in 1 year. So just taking it very slowly. All of these kind of processes are taking physical and mental toll from the body, and we need to give it the time to, I don't know, get used to it and also heal from
Mhm.
the tension and the movement. Like we live in a society where most people don't move. So like just going out and start running marathons or I don't know, 10K or even 5K, it's insane for someone who didn't do it. Like when I started running, I started with 5 minutes. Like for 2 weeks, I ran only 5 minutes. And everyone around me told me, "Are you nuts? I'm not going out of the house for 5 minutes. It doesn't make sense to like go out for 5 minutes run." But I think that in order to run 100K at some point or 100 miles, you need to run 5 minutes. If you cannot run 5 minutes, you cannot, like you can, but then you get injuries and other kind of problems.
That that is great advice. I know for me personally, it's very tough to slow things down. Once I know something, I want to move. I want to move real fast. I want to jump into it. And you're exactly right. Sometimes that sets you back even further, and it can become its own frustration. So I like that you're pointing out one step at a time. That's like that should be your motto, Yossi. You got to have like a tagline that says one step at a time. I
Yeah,
like that.
so in my professional world, in the academia, I can see that people are sometimes trying to do stuff fast, and then they have more difficulties than if you take the long one. So I think like moving slowly and in like short pace will be very helpful in many aspects. Actually, today even the best elite runners are running mainly slowly, so just a little bit fast. So
Yes. I'm definitely one of those slow runners. I'm not elite, but I'm very slow. I tell people I shuffle, but I get it done. I'm on my own little journey out there and processing my own stuff.
move to
Yes.
enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to ask you a question on something you said a couple of minutes ago. I find this so intriguing. So when you were 18 and you hadn't even spoken to a woman, what was it like the first time? Do you remember? What was it like the first time you spoke to a woman?
It was weird.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's a very long time ago, but I remember that it was an issue. So, like,
Mhm.
how we should talk differently? Is it very? I didn't know what it should be. What it's like about. It's like I don't know. Talking to someone. I like came from some kind of village in I don't know the savannah somewhere. So even that I lived next like street or next neighborhood to them, it was totally different atmosphere, and it's not the outside like in your brain. So you program to think that certain things are not allowed. So, like seeing them, it's crossing boundaries, and crossing boundaries, it's always the mental one are harder than the physical one. So you always can cross the street, but your mind or state of mind, it's very different.
So what did you do? Like, how did you? Because there's no one there to guide you. What did I mean? Seriously, like Yossi, this is very intriguing to me. You're growing up thinking, don't do this, act this way, say this, don't say that, and then here you are, and then there she is. I mean, like, was it like? Did you tell her, hey, I've never talked to a woman before, or did you just kind of ease on into it?
I was like curious, and I didn't believe the authorities, so I didn't really have this kind of I don't know. I know that this wasn't allowed, and the reason that it wasn't allowed, it's a good reason to do it. But besides this, I didn't know much. I believe that I need to, I don't know, learn, look on the interaction with people and learn from it and try to like understand what is good and not and how to behave, to move slowly, one
Mhm.
step at a time. And just to try to learn about this new society. So I'm not sure if I said something about it. I never hide that I came from this community, so it wasn't like a secret or something. But I don't remember if I said, "Oh, I never spoke to a woman." But definitely, for many Israelis, it's very clear that if you came from the ultra Orthodox community, you have many barriers or stuff that you don't know. I don't know exactly what and how, but it's like introduction to okay, I don't know many things, let's make it clear on the table.
That's a lot of honesty. That's a lot of courage to do that. I think there's many men in this country who have been raised around women and taught to talk to them and are still scared to death of them at at ages much older than 18. So I mean, you could probably write a book just on that, Yossi, and you know how to. I love how you said you just study, you just watch. Have many people told you like you're a good listener, you're a good student? You're Have you heard this before from other people?
Sometimes, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think the main thing in our society is that we detach from our like deep feeling and what we feel about situation. We think about what other people think about us, what it should be or shouldn't be, which kind of achievement I should have, and all this kind of stuff. And we need to change it. We need to think about how I feel, how I can behave in the best way that don't harm anyone, not myself and not others. How I can respect the, I don't know, physical and mental and other kind of spaces of the people around me. And if we start thinking like this and behaving like this, then many of the physical, mental, and other challenges in our society can change. Many of the divides and fights and conflicts will dissolve because people just see people and speak with them as a human being. So all of this kind of what I should do and how much I should earn or achieve or do, it's not matter because it's not about it. It's about being happy, being in a place that I feel like I am fulfilling myself and I'm doing the best I can to be the best person I can be. So this is my, at least, way of seeing it.
I love that. What is being happy to you? What is being feel fulfilled to you? What does that mean?
It's definitely involved movement, like
Mhm.
also not physical, but also like mental and like professional. So like trying always to achieve new goals, doing them in a reasonable time, so not pushing. In the academic world, we have always many deadlines, and each deadline is like pressing than the other, let's say. Deadline to write, deadline to write back, deadline to review, deadline to apply for grants or whatever. I tr- so some people are running through deadlines. I try to do my own things and make sure that they will arrive in time for deadlines. But if they not arriving, I'm going to the next deadline. I won't, like for example, skip sleep because of a deadline, or skip any run because I now need to work harder. So I may shorten my run in certain periods because I need to work more, but I still will go running and take care of myself and will eat well and will go to sleep enough hours because I think at the long run we will lose if we skip all of this kind of stuff. So nothing will happen if it's not if it will be for the next deadline. And if I will plan ahead enough ahead of time, I will have everything in time or even before time. So this is part of if you run all the time, so always try to catch these kind of deadlines and then you don't have time to breathe and you arrive in the last second. But if you take the time step by step, then you have longer time to do the same, to arrive to the same finish line. So
You do not sound like somebody who is in a hurry, who feels stressed. I mean, even as I'm talking to you, I'm calming down. I feel your energy of just, flow. And do you notice you have that effect on people? Would you describe yourself as somebody who is more relaxed or calm?
yeah, I guess sometimes people even complain about it. Yeah, even in races, like I sometimes people are like really want to, I don't know, run faster. And I usually look around, look for the, view and all of this, and people are
Me
like,
too.
"We need to," and I'm like, "Where are you hurry? Look how incredible mountain you have here! How beautiful trees are around! Which kind of birds are running, or all of this kind of stuff." So just take the time. Like we are living one time, so we need to make the best of it.
Yes. You seem to be able to go into that present moment very well. Did you learn this or have you always been that way or what could you say about that?
No, I think it's a process of learning. It's still a process of learning. Like it's because the society around us, it's mainly not like this.
Right.
It's always some kind of negotiation with the surrounding and a way of trying to reminding myself that I need to be in the present and not trying to be in some, I don't know, in the past or in the future or in some kind of other time and place. So trying to be in the present will be very, very helpful. Also in running, but definitely in life, in everyday life.
What message would you have for somebody who is going through a difficulty, maybe not even the exact same situation you went through, but those same feelings of feeling that they come from a different world and now there is this new world that they have to or that they this new world that could be intimidating to them, could be a little bit fearful. What kind of words would you have for a person who's in that place right now?
I think the first thing is have some kind of goal. I will say physical goal. So some place where you do some physical. I don't know. It can be running, hiking, swimming, biking, whatever. Discover what you like to do. Yoga. I don't know. Everyone in here thing. So, and this kind of goal and routine, it's like mandatory in order to be like to keep yourself sane in something that change because of all the changes in your life. Having something that is stable and you are good at and your body responds to you, it's a very, very healing place and room in these kind of places. The other thing probably is to take it step by step and to listen to yourself. Try to overcome or silence or reduce the volume of the outside voices. It can
Mm,
be from the media, the different kind of media, from people around you, from the society that you came from, or the group that you came from, and the group that you are moving to. From what you imagine that people think, we tend to imagine much worse than the reality. So try to turn down this kind of very loud voices that are all over the place and try to be honest with yourself and try to connect to this kind of a very, I don't know, internal moral or internal integrity, some
mhm.
kind of a place that you feel like you are in the right place, the right time, and you are doing what you believe in, and not something that you think you believe in or someone else think you believe in.
Wow, that's great right there. How do you know that you're in that space? When you're in that space, Yossi, how do you know you're in it?
I usually feel calm and feel that, I don't know, my heart rate is lower. I can look around. I feel that I can, like, I'm not in a rush. I am not feeling like I'm bad or like physically, but also mentally heavy, or there is some kind of burden on my heart. So I think this is usually the feeling of being free, or in a way with less of this kind of. It's hard to say free from the all of this kind of stuff, but definitely with less of this kind of burden.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know having
you take a big backpack on your back, so you need to take it down.
take it off, right? Having not known you for a long period of time, I don't have anything to compare it to. You appear like somebody who has gone through such a transition that it has impacted you on the inside to transcend so much that you are now. It's almost like you're in stages of enlightenment. You do you talk like this all the time?
I hope so. I don't know.
You hope so. You have with me every time so far.
No, I
Yeah,
think
this is
the
go
topic
ahead.
also is I don't know, taking from me or bringing out this kind of perspective. But I try to be like this as often as possible and as long as possible during my day. So I'm trying to make my supervision and my guidance for my students in this way, and I try to um, speak like this in various places when I'm in. So I'm trying to change the opportunities and ways that people see the life around me in the close surrounding, and hopefully it will have this kind of, you know, multiplying effect when they will move forward. But this is my attempt.
I absolutely think that's what you do. Your energy and your light ripples out to places you'll never even see. But I know that's what you're doing. Are you writing a book right now about all this, or have you ever thought about that, or have you already written a book about this?
Actually, I'm working now on trying to. It's very different style than what I used in the last couple of years. Like it's very different than the academic writing. So it's
Mhm.
quite of a new muscle, new challenge to write this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm actually working on writing a book on this kind of journey that I moved through as a way to give it to to the people around. So I guess the beginning it will start in Hebrew and maybe hopefully later also in other languages. English probably will be the first.
Wow. Well, for somebody who learned English at a later time, you speak it so well, and you don't have a lot of filler words. You like, no. I have a tendency to do that, but I'm noticing as you talk, and you did this on the phone when we spoke earlier, you are very clear about what you're saying, and it's easy to follow you. And so, even if you're using a concept that's a little bit more complex, it's still easy to follow you as you're speaking through it. And that's definitely, I don't know if that's a gift, if you cultivated that, probably a little bit of both. But it's definitely a gift that you have because you have so much to say. You have such a powerful story. I mean, my goodness, just the little bit that we're hearing on here is not even touching so much of it. And yet I can hear so much depth in just the little bit that you've touched on.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Yossi, I so appreciate your time here today and you coming on here. I hope that we can have you back as you go through this process of writing your book, because we would like to hear updates on your run for change, which I love. You're not about time. You're not about speed. You're about just get out there and move one step at a time. And y'all, if y'all want to find him, he is on Instagram. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Let me put the banner right back there. Try to delete the banner. Okay, there we go. He's on Instagram. You can find him on Runners for Change. And he responds very well to messages, y'all. He was back with me pretty quickly. So now keep in mind, if you're in the US, he's got a little bit of a time difference there, but he will get back to you. And he's very courteous and kind. So yeah, that's where you can find him. Yossi, we could talk to you for hours, man. You've got so much here. Um, thank
Thank
you.
you for hosting me and for this like very incredible 100 for 100 trees. It's like we definitely need more trees. It's much easier to run when there are trees around and to breathe and enjoy this kind of. Actually, my first ultra was in 2021, I think, in Germany. By it's called the Backyard Ultra. It's
Okay.
very unique. Actually, origin in the state. Ultra that it's a very briefly it's the backyard. It's a 6.7 kilometers. I think it's 4.2 maybe miles or something like this.
Uh-huh.
And that you need to finish in 1 hour, and it's most people can do it, but then after 1 hour you need to go to another one and another one until one person, last man standing. It's called also last man standing. So the challenge is to stay there as long as possible. And the specific German version that I was in, the founder decided that every runner will pay €3 per lap for planting trees in the forest nearby. So this was like, I thought about like this kind of. So I will be back there this year and try to do some roll-ups. Last time it was 15, about 100 kilometers, I don't know, 60 miles maybe, something around this.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
hopefully next time I will do a little bit more. But this is definitely running can save trees if you don't destroy them. So
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. And on that note, we ask everyone here at the end of the interview, we always ask them the same question. If you were to be a tree, what kind of tree would you be and why?
Wow, this is a brilliant question. I get olive tree, not just because I met one in my last, just before I came here, a few, but I think olive trees, they are like very, usually have long life and they are changing very slowly. They are also a little bit sour. So I think there are this kind of bitterness to the life and to, so I will say olive tree definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that question. Go ahead.
I guess it can change over time, but this is now definitely my tree
Oh,
at
I
home.
love it. This, so cool. And just the way you described it has a lot to do with how one might describe you. So, and the message that you've been sending, that's really very interesting how you resonate with that tree. And I appreciate you sharing that. That's a great answer.
Sure.
Well, Yossi, thank you so much for coming on here. We so appreciate your time. We want to hear updates on the book, and of course, y'all know where to go find him. So we are going to say au revoir to Yossi, and I will come on here. Come back. I'm going to put you in the waiting room just real quick, Yossi. So don't take off yet. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, tree huggers and tree lovers, for coming on here. What an incredible story. Y'all go reach out to him because there's so much more there than what we could even dive into. But I think you can see the tip of the iceberg and how interesting of a person he is and how much he can help and is helping the world. So if that doesn't inspire you here on this Tuesday, I don't know what to do for you. So go check him out. And thank y'all so much for being on 100 for Trees. Go check out our website if you want to donate. It's www.100fortrees.com/donate. Send me a message if you would like to be interviewed on here, or if you know someone who you would like to see interviewed on here. Feel free to send me a message, or you can do it through Facebook. Just send me a DM on the Facebook page or the 100 for Trees Facebook group. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We can't wait to see you next week, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful Tuesday.